welcome to the Acceptable Accuracy Podcast. I am your host, Philip. I'm joined, as I am almost every other week, with Tyler, host number 1 today. You know what? I was number 1 last week. I think you're going to be number 1 this week, Tyler. Anyway, this is episode number 2 about everyday carry, and we've got a special guest with us. Tyler, would you like to introduce our guest?
Yeah, of course. So our guest today is our buddy Nathan. He is someone that we shoot with occasionally, and I would argue that he is a better shooter than both of us, especially in terms of accuracy. And I know EDC is something that he is very passionate about. Ironically enough, when the episode dropped, he messaged us and said, "Guys, that was an awesome episode, but I'm offended you guys didn't invite me." And we're like, "Bro, because we're going to have you in on part 2. So now, Nathan, would you like to introduce yourself and tell us why are you so passionate about EDC?
Sure. Hey, guys. I am passionate about EDC because I've been carrying since, about 2012, I would say, and many different evolutions of what I carry, why, things like that. And I guess the passion just comes from being a protector. I mean, simply put. So, yeah.
Yeah. And I will add as well, too, that Nathan is one of the leaders on our church's safety team. So involved a lot with that, and a lot of policies, a lot of the ideas, and a lot of the testing that we do of our safety team as well, which we have discussed in a previous episode. I forget what number it is, but check it out if you're interested in listening about church safety teams.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. So, of course, last episode, Phil and I basically just went through our whole EDC journey and our history of it. We kind of broke down the different things that we carry in our pockets, whether it's our knives, our phones, our keys. I just realized we didn't even talk about pepper spray, which I will admit I very, very rarely carry, but I would like to maybe at least just have with me. But even then, of course, then we spoke about our firearms and holsters and belt. I can't remember. I don't think we actually talked about our belts, but either way, my man. But either way, I know Nathan, why don't you go ahead and share with us your EDC, and then we'll kind of just go straight into the episode.
Sure. It's a lot easier if you were to see just the mess in front of me, but I can describe it. I have, I would say, 2 obsessions, problems maybe.
Okay.
My wife would laugh. Holsters. I was kind of chuckling when you guys were talking about, the bin of shame or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I have bins and bins. It's endless.
I love it.
For ones I haven't just outright sold, which I'm still working on. Definitely have several to sell. And wallets. I'm a big wallet fan.
Okay.
I like to carry cash.
Yep.
And I have several different ones, and I like to just, I don't know, I just kind of go between different ones depending on what I'm feeling that day.
Do you like, if you like multiple wallets, do you like swap everything between your wallets?
I do, but I don't carry that much stuff in my wallets. Just cash.
He just has a copy of everything in each wallet, multiple IDs, different names, different credit cards, different CP. I'm kidding. No, I'm not.
They're not supposed to talk about all that. Yeah.
I got a guy.
That's why we don't use last names.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I like the billfolds. That's probably my jam. My biggest one that I like. I like the easy access to cash, and ironically, I rarely use it because I always want to keep it. But it's kind of funny because we're starting to not starting. We have become a largely cashless society, thanks to Steve Jobs. It's funny, I was so excited when the iPhone came out, and especially when tap to pay, I'm like, this is all so awesome.
Yeah.
And then as we went on, and then past COVID, I'm like, this is actually kind of dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
So I do like to pay with cash when I can. But anyway, it's
good
nice
for
to have
you.
for emergency. Yeah, well, we camp a lot, and there's a campground store there. And here's the other thing: have you noticed anytime you get ice cream or anything like that, they've got all these signs. There's like a 3% surcharge for credit cards.
Yep.
So save money by paying cash there too.
Fun fact: they are not legal. Well, not legally. per rules of credit card companies, if they want to take their credit card, they're not actually allowed to charge a surcharge for credit cards. You can actually, if they try to do that, especially like at a gas station or something like that, you can call the card company, and I mean, who's going to report them? But you can, because they're not supposed to upcharge for it.
Oh, that's
Interesting.
interesting.
If you take those cards, you're not supposed to do it. Yeah, I actually ran into that problem, and I was talking to somebody at the card company about it, and they're like, "Yeah, no, they can't do that." So they get trouble for it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
They're probably just trying to avoid their own charges for using the cards, I'm guessing.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it definitely adds additional cost to the business. The argument was always made that if somebody uses a credit card, they'll probably spend more, which is true, which is probably why we're all as Americans in debt right now. But
It's true.
yeah. Anyway, moving on.
The wife likes to use cards for the points, so it's kind of like a
Well, I know two people that do that, and one of them is on this call.
I may or may not have double-digit credit cards now, so I will. Yeah.
Dang, that's impressive.
It happens quick.
Nathan likes wallets, and Tyler likes credit cards. So
I am unfortunately a credit card guy. So it's funny. I actually just got. No, I'm not even gonna talk about that. All right. So yeah, no, that's really cool, dude. No, thanks for definitely sharing that. So I guess my question for you guys today is, of course, we spoke about our EDC, but why does it even matter? Why is this so important? Why is this such a hot topic? It seems like every YouTuber, every podcaster, every gun guy just loves talking about EDC. Why is this so important?
it's because guys like stuff.
In a nutshell,
No,
that's well stated. Yeah.
Yeah, I joke, and that actually is coming from somebody who doesn't like to carry a bunch of stuff on them, just because I find it to be uncomfortable to have to carry on stuff all the time.
For sure.
As I get older, that does definitely change, though. Like we discussed in last episode, I have minimized some items so I can carry other items. Right, it's all trade-offs. But the real reason we carry stuff is because, like Nathan said earlier, we are, as protectors, we especially like men, not saying women can't do this, but men feel this need to always be ready at every given situation. And I don't know if that's just like an American thing, or if that's like a Boy Scout thing, or what, but it is definitely something that is ingrained in a lot of men in the United States.
Yeah, I mean, I never even gave it a second thought when I was younger. Honestly, it wasn't until my mid 30s, probably. Yes, I'm kind of showing my age here, I suppose. Since I've been carrying since 2012, you can do the math a little bit. Well into middle age here, but no. Buddy of mine, really good friend of mine, wanted to sell me his pistol and was talking to me about it, and I asked my wife, and she okayed it, and then I just went down the rabbit hole from there. And
I get
almost
that,
immediately went out and took my CPL class, and so it was just.
What was your first pistol? What was it?
It was a Glock 23.
Oh, okay.
40 cal.
My man.
I don't even
That's
know
the only 40 cal I've ever owned. Yeah.
What is a Glock 23 other than a 40 cal?
That is the compact.
Isn't that the Glock 19? But that's not 40 cal.
It would be like the Glock 19, which is 9 mil, but in 40 cal. So I think that one only held 10 rounds because, the larger bullet. But yeah, good shooter. But
you can tell how much you know about Glocks, because I own exactly 0 Glocks.
Me neither. Technically, I have a Glock clone, but that's about it.
I've owned many Glocks, and I do not own any now.
That's
I'm a
amazing.
big HK fan.
Because someone is a southpaw.
That's true.
Or are they like bougie firearms?
It's this actually may be something to talk about in a future episode if you haven't already. But I'm actually legit right-handed, but I am left eye dominant, and I chose to train with my dominant eye.
We can definitely.
I found it pretty easy to do with pistol, but rifle was a challenge.
Oh, that must have been a nightmare. I know for me, it's something I don't know if I've shared in the podcast before, but Phil knows this, and you might as well, Nathan, how I have the most messed up eyes. My left eye is like 20/20 perfect vision. My right eye is like 2100. So my right eye is very much nearsighted. So I am, believe it or not, I am right eye dominant near. So right now I'm looking at you guys in the computer with my right eye, but if I look up and I'm looking at my microwave, my left eye is looking at it. I'm right eye dominant near. left eye dominant far. So with me being a lefty, I want to stick with it. For a while, I would present, use my right eye to see, but then I would always see double. And I try using, or my right eye, but it was hard for me to see because I can't see far. Then I switched to my left eye, but with my left eye, I would see double. But the moment I put a red dot in, no problems at all.
Oh yeah, the dot solves so much, right? Yeah.
It's
So
insane.
what you guys are saying is I'm the only normal person on this call.
Yeah,
Says a dude who's 7 feet tall.
and as you get to be my age, you will notice that your eyesight, the near vision, is a struggle. So I, with contacts right now, this is actually a new thing for me. I'm rocking with
Oh,
what you call monovision. Have you heard of that?
interesting. I have not. Tell me about it.
I have a reader in my non-dominant eye, my right eye, and a
Okay.
distance lens in the left.
Oh my goodness,
So
that's amazing.
it is very interesting. It takes, I don't know, like a week to get used to. Your brain adapts. So
Oh,
I
for
just look
sure.
out and I'm automatically looking with my left eye, which makes sense because that's my dominant eye anyway.
Yeah.
And if I'm looking at the computer, my phone, anything like that, it's just automatically my right eye.
Yeah, that's basically what
So
my eyes are doing right now naturally because that's just how
yeah.
it's set up. Interesting.
That's
So it's kind
crazy.
of
So
nice. So now
what is it
I don't
called
have to
again?
carry around readers. It's called monovision.
Monovision. I gotta look into that. Interesting.
Yeah. It
But
is interesting.
I wonder what it would be like. So we talked about nods a couple episodes ago, and I actually had a chance a couple weekends back to do some walking around with a single nod on one eye, and then the other eye was just natural light. And that was weird because when you go to set up your nods, you set them to like the focus similar to a scope, but you set it to like infinity. So I have the set to infinity, which you do most of the time. But then like up close, everything's blurry. But then you also have this thing where the nod itself is like what, a couple inches long. So like what you're looking through the scope with one eye and the other eye is like normal, but you can't see anything, maybe a little bit. And you're trying to walk around with two eyes that are slightly different. And that was a little bit disorienting. So
I believe it.
Nathan, all I have to say, I have no idea how you do the two different contacts.
Yeah, it just it's like progressive lenses too. Those just take your brain a week or two to acclimate. So the brain is amazing that way, how it can just make those adjustments. So
Oh, for
it's the
sure.
best of both worlds because I don't have to carry around readers like some boomer, you know. Just looks like I can just see everything. It's pretty cool.
Oh, that's amazing. But okay. So of course we talked about, like I said, we kind of briefly spoke about our EDC, why it matters, but now comes the real question. Training. Training, I feel it.
You guys
What?
train?
Oh my goodness. Exactly. The often neglected side of EDC. It's fun having all the tools, having all the gadgets, having all the stuff. But what do you guys do to actually train with your stuff?
Me, I never shoot, never.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I hate it. So
Yeah. Totally. Says a dude who can just stinking
I just
filth.
I found an outdoor gun range a year and a half ago or so with a buddy of mine, and it's just like this best kept secret, I would say.
Yeah.
And the other Nathan that we know, Philip, he knows about it too. It's because he lives out that way. But I am an outdoor range complete convert. Like I just don't ever want to shoot indoors anymore.
100%. Yeah.
So it's just, I mean, you can drill. So we're there sometimes once a week.
Good for you, man. That's awesome.
Once a month would probably be the very least amount that we're shooting. And that's all year round. We'll go out there if it's snowing because, we like to give each other crap. Like, hey, an attack doesn't happen just when it's nice weather, So
it's funny because one of our other buddies, one of the other safety team leaders, he got his CPL in the winter. And for some reason, not by his own, he's not doing it on purpose, but it felt like he went to the range all the time in the snow, but he couldn't go when it was warm out. So it was just so weird. But now I think he's finally shot in the warmth. So, but even then, I agree. Shooting outdoors is far superior than shooting. The only reason why I would go to an indoor range is because I'm renting guns. That's about it.
If I have to sight in an optic, and I'm limited on time, I have an indoor range about 10 minutes away, and I'll go there.
Same.
But that's about it for that these days.
I just do it on my back porch.
Whatever.
That's my dream. Now you're talking about my dream.
Aren't you neighbors with the fire chief too?
One of the fire leads is near
Oh,
me.
got it.
So
Okay.
yeah, but he
Dude,
he
It was
doesn't.
our
He's
buddy
not a
from church
cop.
with
yeah, he's
just
not a cop. Okay,
that
that's true.
squat Josh. You know what I'm talking about. His,
Yeah,
where we had
yes,
the one.
he can just literally walk out his backyard
Yeah,
and
it's
yeah,
beautiful setup. Yeah.
I know.
That's so
It's,
great.
someday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh,
So
we,
so when you guys do train with your EDC, I guess in this context, I know we're talking more about our guns. How do you guys like to train? Do you train more for speed, accuracy? Are you running drills? Are you running around? Are they like static? What do you like to do? Under time?
Well, Tyler, you're usually my motivation. I'm always saying to my buddy, I'm like, I gotta catch up to Tyler. I gotta get that sub-second draw to first shot here.
That's hard, man. I'm gonna be real with you. I cannot do that right now. I can probably get like I can easily get a 1.3. I could probably alpha A zone, probably a 1.1 to 1.2. That's about where I'm at right now.
Well,
I've
do we
I've
want
done
to
it
say
before. The sub one, the fastest I've ever gone was like a 0.88, I believe.
that's smoking fast? That's awesome. Do we want to say the name of the test that we use to qualify,
Yeah,
or?
go for it. I'm fine with
yeah,
it.
Yeah.
I think we've talked about it before.
We yeah, we talked
Yep.
about it in the safety
And
episode.
honestly, the reason we use it, and I'll let Nathan introduce it, is because actually, Nathan, go ahead.
Yeah, go for it,
Yeah,
man.
so we use the M calls for our qualifier for our safety team at church,
Hmm.
and I've just found it's a really good baseline just to kind of see where you're at.
I agree.
So the buddy that I shoot with often, we just will run that once every month, once every couple months, different
Hmm.
guns. Um, Probably my EDC pistol as of late, especially as we get into the summer months. And that's a whole other discussion. Summer carry versus winter carry. I always thought that was kind of goofy, but I kind of get it at the same time. That's your only one, right?
It
Yeah.
is. I carry this like 99. I guess
Right.
I will admit in the summer I take the light off. In the
Well,
winter I put the light back on. That's about it.
how
For
many
those
YouTubers you see, carry what you train with? Well, I will train with all those guns. So,
That's fair. That's true. Which
but
I took it to the next level where this thing is literally, I don't know, almost 10,000 rounds now.
yeah,
I
that's a
use
sweet
this.
gun.
I use this for my everyday carry, competitions, and just everything. USPSA,
Bottle
Wolverine,
opener,
Zombie, just every what?
Mhm.
bottle opener, nose
Uh,
picker, yeah,
Right.
everything.
maybe I
No,
don't know.
shout out
You
to
know.
Smith and Wesson for their Bodyguard 2.0 little
Oh
380.
yeah.
That
Hmm.
is just the best pocket pistol, and I don't really carry in pocket. Not a super fan of that. I have done it on occasion, and I do have pocket holsters, but just
Hmm.
inside the waistband, just for comfort. And that sucker is accurate. Like I can shoot that out at 15 yards and hit alpha.
Oh my goodness. Good for
Yeah,
you. You have a
sometimes I'm
dot on, or
cutting
it's
that
just
line.
irons?
No, it's just irons. It's
Oh
just
my goodness.
amazing.
Good
Yeah,
for
Philip
you,
shot with
dude.
me
I
with
did
that.
actually. I think we
So
went out to pretty good distance, and you were able to drill steel.
I think
That's wild.
I think I got steel at 50. Am I wrong?
I
Am I,
think no, I think you're correct. And
yeah.
I actually even with it was my carry gun, but even and I'll get into this in a second, but like with my carry gun, I was missing at 50. So,
Hmm.
um, but
Yeah.
that is actually something that my problem is with training, and that's not a problem because it's my own making, is my context. And one of the reasons why I think Tyler and I make such good co-hosts, like I like to focus more on the competition side of shooting versus the EDC side of shooting. So for me, like my draw is a problem, right? It's not
Hmm.
overly fast. So I do like to sometimes go out and just shoot with my concealed carry pistol. And I'll only bring that because it's the only thing I got on me. And actually, a couple of USPSA matches ago, I was having issues with my optic. I won't. Long story short, it was a fixable issue, but I had to swap firearms, and I had to swap to my carry gun. It was the only other gun I had with me. It was in my car.
Oh man.
So I had to swap to that. So I actually shot a stage, at least the last stage with it, and I actually did pretty darn well with it. And I think it was just a lot of sometimes when you switch to something and you've never done like a USPSA stage with a carry gun before,
Hmm.
you're like, oh, this is kind of novel and fun. So your brain is like, I think I'm going to do well. I'm like, what the heck?
Those
So I
level
had a
one
good,
matches, man.
I know,
To
I had a
just
great,
switch equipment.
and I had to switch to my inside the waistband because it wouldn't fit in my holster because
Mm-hmm.
it's a micro compact. But I actually
Yep.
did okay on that stage.
When
It's
was
funny that you
this?
bring up
You weren't there.
holsters and being uncomfortable, Philip, because as I was listening to last episode, I was thinking, I'm like, I got to get Philip over here and just have him try some of these, because if there's one thing I can pride myself in, it's like all sorts of holster comfort hacks that I have
Mm-hmm.
perfected. And of course, it's just for me because everybody is different. But I'm a big, like you, Tyler, appendix carry fan. Like, I
Oh
just think
yeah.
that is the best way to carry by far. And I have different styles of holsters for comfort and various concealability options depending on what I'm wearing or what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
So, and maybe you guys could throw this in the show notes. I made a list of like all my EDC items that I was going to rep today.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, you were talking pepper spray. That I carry pepper spray, palm spray every day, either
Where
in my
you?
pocket.
You just, I was about to wonder, like, where I just run out of room. That's like my
Well,
problem. Like,
you should
I've
check
just,
this out. This is I don't know if you can see this in the camera. It's
I can, yeah.
so,
Oh,
and I added this little neoprene for comfort.
okay.
But
Wow.
this is made by Rush Carry,
Oh my
and it's
goodness.
just a little palm spray holster. You take out the black plastic part of the palm
Yep.
spray,
Yep.
and then you can just put that right inside the waistband.
Okay. That
Um,
intrigues me.
or not inside the waistband, but it goes on your belt. It's outside the
Yeah.
waistband,
Yeah.
but it's
Yeah.
super low profile.
Yep. Well, like I said, like I just have so much stuff in my pockets already. I feel like every time I go home, or it's funny, my girlfriend will make fun of me. She's like, "Still emptying your pockets." I'm like, "Uh huh." I'm like just
Oh
taking my
yeah, yeah,
flashlight, my
that's a running
gun,
joke
my
here too.
wallet, my keys, and eventually my holster. Usually, I'll be honest, my holster's the first one. I'm like, oh, it's like, oh, I'm
Yeah,
free. Especially after carrying. Like yesterday, I was carrying for 13, 14 hours straight. It's like it's just a nice relief to finally take it off.
I'm surprised you didn't use your fanny pack.
I do have a cross bag, and it's okay. I mean, it's not my
and
absolute favorite, but there are some
and a
minor
fanny pack.
things. It's a cross bag.
You have a fanny pack
It
too,
is
though.
not
I
a fanny
know.
pack. It is
I have been
because
with you when you've worn the fanny pack.
yes, but I no longer wear that one. I have a
Oh,
legitimate cross bag now that
okay.
actually
All right.
that stays vertical on in front of me. The only problem is if I tighten it too much, the buckle kind of cuts on my neck. That's why I don't really like to wear it. So I loosen it, but then now it's like more towards the bottom, more towards kind of like the side near my side. I just don't like that, but it gets the job done. Like if I'm wearing that, you guys already know. It's like it's either like do not feel like carrying, or I'm like, yeah, maybe. I
do you carry your
just
phone in your pocket?
yeah, I do.
Yeah, see, I've got like a slim, like, shout out to the boomers. I'm not a boomer, but
Oh
when
yeah,
I look at things like this, it just kind of makes me think of boomers.
I
Even though this
know.
is kind of low profile and my shirt's not tucked in, so I don't think it looks like boomer.
Uh
But
huh.
I don't like to keep my phone in my pocket, so I have this little. It's a real
Hmm.
slim cell phone holster
I
that I, of
get
course,
it.
this is neoprene ankle um, support that I cut up and put
That's
some Velcro on.
that's amazing.
Um,
Hey,
to
as long as you don't walk around with your Bluetooth earpiece in your ear all the time, then you're good.
well, I
That's
That's
do listen
great.
to a lot of podcasts.
yeah, and that's fine if you're listening to something. But I always think it's funny
Yes.
when like people are walking around with a big old Bluetooth thing on the side of their head, and I'm like, dude,
Hmm.
really?
Yep.
Yeah. I will admit that is one thing too. Kind of speaking of Velcro, that has been really helpful for me. Of course, like adding like the wedges, and of course, Tier One has their own wedge. But what I did was I put Velcro on it, so this way I can remove it and move from holster to holster. I know you've kind of jerry rigged your own stuff too, Nathan.
Well, you've heard of Filster, right?
Oh yeah.
They came out with a new wedge that is pretty amazing, and it's
Okay. Oh, that's
specific
pretty
to
sweet,
which
actually.
hand you
Wow.
are. This is a left-handed wedge,
Oh, I'll have to look
and
into
it's
that
very
actually.
comfortable and concealable. Yeah, I'll send you the link.
That'd
But
be amazing. No, I appreciate that. If you don't mind me,
yep,
how much was that?
like $25.
That's not bad.
Kind of expensive for just like a little piece of foam wedge, but
It is.
they did a really good job with it.
Well, I mean, granted, like the one that I have on my tier one, like it's a wedge pack. They come with like four different sizes, but I paid like $20 for it. That just
Yep.
looks a lot bigger. That kind of That just seems. I'm definitely very interested
When you're
in that.
carrying a big gun, yeah, it's
Oh, dude, I
it does the
know.
job.
No
Because
kidding.
that's the issue, right? It's the concealability if you're carrying. Like I was carrying my VP9 all day today.
Oh man.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
I like Phil work from home, but I
Mm-hmm.
actually carry on the job. I carry home. I'm always carrying. ABC, always be carrying, right? That's my motto.
Wait, like on your waistband, even when like you're just on your chair, just working?
100%. I always got it on
I
me.
can't say much because I do that too all day at work. If I'm like really not doing well or it hurts, and I'll take it off and I'll just put it on my desk. But once I leave my desk, I'll bring it with me.
Hey, in fact, the last episode, I think, right, Philip? Weren't you talking about some stuff that was going on in our hood?
Yeah, and there's more stuff that happened today, which
Are you
we won't get
Yeah,
into.
serious?
yeah. So you
Yeah,
just never know. And I work in my
What is
basement,
going on with
so
you guys
it
in
was
your
like
area, man?
it was in the vicinity.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I can't say much because there was a drive-by shooting where I work before, so I can't say much. Did I
Yeah,
tell you
well,
guys
the
about
point
that?
is you just never know. So I like to always
Yeah.
be prepared. It would take somebody like 0.5 seconds to break down my front door.
Oh,
I
for
don't have
sure. Yeah.
it's not reinforced or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I watch a lot of active self protection. So I don't want to say
Oh
I'm
yeah.
paranoid. I like to say prepared. So you
Mm-hmm.
see all the crazy stuff and that's the other reason I'm such a palm spray convert from John Correa at Active Self Protection. Shout out
Yep,
to him. He's always repping that stuff.
for sure.
And
Active
what's the
self-protection.
saying?
Feel free to sponsor us as well.
Absolutely.
I was wondering when that was going to happen.
Between a harsh word and a gun. And he talks about and we how many dogs do we have in our neighborhood, Philip? I carry it for the dogs. You just never know.
Yeah, I just plan on like putting the dogs in a sleeper hold, so we're good.
I just
There you
plan on not
go.
shooting a dog, but I
No,
also
don't
don't
be
want to
the
be bit.
ATF.
So
Yeah, there you go. Oh man, that's so great.
So
But
yeah.
okay.
I was thinking too, just real quick, getting back on the training topic.
Mm-hmm.
Something that had come up in kind of previous or prior to discussions, getting back to this, and I know Nathan and I have talked about this, but we do a lot of flat range training, right? Like
Yes.
all three of us on this podcast, including a bunch of people that we know, church state team, all that. The one thing that's really hard to get good training on, now you can dry fire this, I suppose, but is actually low light training. I don't know.
Yeah.
Have either of you guys done any low light or no light training?
I've not. I've not had a chance to.
I have one time at the range. We brought out our weapon mounted lights on our pistols.
That's awesome.
Because I like to think that criminals don't like the daylight, right? So
Oh
not. I mean, okay. I
well.
mean, it depends on who you
Okay.
are and what you're
Well.
doing, right? But
Yes. It. Yeah.
I would say that a vast majority of home invasions with people home happen during the night, right? Just
Yeah.
because there's
Say it.
the
Can you repeat that again? Say that again.
I'm assuming, and again, maybe somebody will correct me if I'm wrong, but the vast majority of home invasions with people home happen
Got
at
it.
night when
Yes.
it's
When
dark
when
because
people are home, yes.
yeah,
The majority of
using the
home
infrared.
invasions occur during the day, but if you're purposefully breaking into a home for a person, then yes, it's at night.
Correct.
I always have a weapon mounted light on my gun that is safely stored and unloaded and everything because we live in a
Legally.
state where we have safe storage laws. Let's just say
Well,
that.
but I'm a
But
bachelor, no kids. Mine's right by my bed because I can legally do that.
Yeah,
mine may or may not
For
be,
now.
but for legal reasons, it's safely stored. But yeah,
mine is too, Nathan.
weapon weapon mounted light on that. I do not, and I think you guys talked about this last time. I could be wrong, or maybe I heard it somewhere else, but I do not, and I have before, but just the width down at the muzzle end I found is just not comfortable. So I do not carry a weapon mounted light on my carry gun
Gotcha.
because I am not a police officer. I have no duty, nor should I ever just chase a fleeing person anyway. And I forgot the stats, but it's almost like never will you not have some sort of visibility if you were to get into an altercation outside of your home at night, of course.
Hmm.
So for me, I trust my handheld.
For sure.
So
Which, I mean, that's something too that I've spoken about where I even said in the previous episode where you should have a light as a part of your EDC.
yep.
It should, whether it's a weapon mounted and a handheld or a handheld. like I argue that you should always have a handheld flashlight as your EDC, no matter what. So it's nice to have
Agree.
a weapon mounted light, but ironically enough, I'm the opposite where I actually find it more comfortable carrying. It's much easier for me to conceal with a weapon mounted light. It's just the weight eventually it just
Yeah,
gets to me
it all
after a
adds up.
while. It's the
Yep.
weight typically that gets me, but the actual concealability and comfortability, at least like the first half of the day, piece of cake. It's just
Yep.
after a while, but the extra way is like,
That's why I like that bodyguard. I can carry it all day, all night, barely know it's
for
on me.
sure.
It's
Mhm.
amazing.
Yeah, in regards to training at night too, it is difficult. Similar to the we covered in the night vision episode, is a lot of
Mhm.
clubs, due to legal reasons or legal concerns of being sued, don't allow for shooting at night. There is one club north of where we all live that has a night match. I have shot it twice now. The first time I shot it, I really didn't know what I was doing in general anyway, and it did not go well. The second time was
Mhm.
much better, but I was trying to remember if I had it with a red dot or not. But honestly, I would encourage everyone, if you have a club that does run a night match, and this one is actually specifically a defensive pistol. So maybe it's something that three of us will have to talk about after the episode is done recording about going to shoot that match, because it is
Mhm.
later in the year, just because the days are shorter, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
But
well,
is.
it
it's like
is way
9:30
different.
p.m. man now.
And I know a lot of people will go through their house and like clear their house, and
What? Who
seriously
does that?
or jokingly with their pistol or rifle, whatever you want. But when you are actually shooting at night, it is way different than
Oh, for
just doing
sure.
dry fire. So especially because the scenarios are set up in such a way that you're engaging targets. And I guess honestly, if it was your home, you'd probably know it a little bit better than being at a stage or whatever. But all that to say, it is a good opportunity for people that really want to be serious about concealed carrying or carrying in the home or defensive in the home, is actually going to a match at night, and especially a defensive one and shooting in the
Mhm.
night with your light.
Correct.
Because you'll find that some people get really super bright flashlights, and the spillback that you get from targets. Again, I guess you're not shooting people necessarily wearing white, but it can blind you.
Yeah.
So correct me if I'm wrong, Nathan, but can't you shoot a net at your club?
Um, you can. I mean, they're only open until 9, so depending on the time of
But
year.
guys, but 9 o'clock year round, correct?
Right.
So that means in like middle of December, it's like 8 p.m. It's dark.
Yeah, whenever it
Yeah,
was
even
that
after
we shot,
the
it
time change.
was
Yeah.
almost pitch dark, and they were
Yeah,
still open, and we were shooting with lights. Yep.
that's awesome. I might
Yeah.
have
Yeah,
to reach out to you next winter then, or this
Heck yeah.
winter.
I was thinking like time change. As soon as that kind of hits, then
Hmm.
you're usually good because you lose that
Yep.
nighttime.
Exactly. But
That's the
okay.
only benefit of that time change.
Yeah, I just wanted to get rid of it or keep
Exactly.
it or something.
It needs to
I'm
stay
from
what it
Hawaii,
is now.
man. I'm from Hawaii. I agree. I'd rather this one,
Yeah.
but I'm from Hawaii. Like I remember when I moved to California for college, I was so confused when people were talking about time change because I was part of one of like two states that didn't even do time change. I'm like, I have no idea what any of you people are talking about. I was so confused.
Yeah.
But either way, okay.
Uh,
So
the Real quick, the last thing I kind of want to hit on, Tyler, before we move off of training, and maybe you had something else you wanted to add as well. But again, speaking of the flat range, some people will go just to an indoor range and they'll sit there in their bay, they pull their pistol out of the box, and then they'll shoot, and then they think they're good. Right? I would argue that if you can become a member of an outdoor range or have a friend who's a member of an outdoor range, and make
mhm,
sure you're doing things like you're practicing your draw, right? You can do that in dry fire too, and actually that's where you're going to make your time anyway.
that's where
But
I did it.
drawing to fire and then movement as well is a
Yep.
really
Hmm.
big deal. And again, that's why I kind of push competition a lot, because you are moving and having to deal with a firearm pointed in the correct direction while you're moving and engaging targets. A lot of times on the move, or quickly transitioning between targets, shooting around barricades and stuff like that. Things that you could run into in the real world, though, again, like Nathan said earlier, you're not going to go chase after somebody.
Yeah. And we'll
Hmm.
do goofy stuff like do a bunch of push ups too, just to get the heart rate up, because
Yeah.
you know that your heart rate's going to be up if it was a real world
Oh, for
self
sure.
defense
We'll follow that
situation.
adrenaline
So,
too. Well, I know one drill that I like to do. It's been a while since I've done it. Is by oh man, I forgot his name. Craig Douglas from Shivworks is retention style shooting, which I know Phil loves to do
I know.
so much. So it's where, of course, you're drawing from concealment and you're literally pulling your elbow as far back as you can, and you're basically just going for like a one shot in the groin, and you're taking a step back and you just marry your gun and just fire as you walk backwards.
We run
So,
the collateral drill sometimes. Shout out to
mhm.
Tom Cruise, 2004,
Oh yeah.
best role ever. Everybody knows the scene I'm talking about.
Oh yes. So, but stuff like that, I know it's not Phil's favorite, and I understand why, but it's one of those things where it's like, once again, I think of statistics. What does the stats say? 90% of shootings, self defense situations in the context of civilian law enforcement happens within 3 seconds, within 3 yards, within 3 rounds. So, rule of threes. So for me, I'm like, yeah, if someone's just that close, like, all right, if I need to, I will. I hope I never have to, but it's just being able to just have quick draws, accurate, being able to shoot fast and go.
I mean, that's actually a good point as far as training goes.
Mm-hmm.
Those close encounters, you're 100% right. Those are going to be the majority of them for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, having to draw and fire from retention and then, back up, 2 shots to the chest, one to the head, whatever. Like we do a lot of stuff
Exactly.
like that. But yeah, no, that's good.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So stuff like that. I know I'm trying to remember what other drills, but I mean Phil knows this too. But I'm a big fan of fundamentals. I'll do draw from concealment, just transitions, movements. That's double taps. I'm not very fancy with my drills, truthfully. So I'm just pretty straightforward with it. So
One thing that Tyler, you and I have not had a chance to shoot recently, but we had
I
talked about
know.
when we go to shoot together next, and whoever ends up joining us from either one of our different shooting groups, it is probably a good idea to introduce no shoot targets within your defensive practice as well, because
Mm-hmm.
there is a really great chance that if you are going to have to draw down on someone, you're not going to be the only one around. Obviously there's a ton of different situations. IDPA really pushes into the no shoot kind of thing as well.
Mm-hmm.
But doing things, taking like, you never want to take a tight shot, but I think of like a church defensive position, right? Where you may have to. So practicing those tight shots or putting no shoots up next to the target that you are trying to shoot. Like, what does your speed really look like in accuracy, and how do you balance out the two of those without? Because again, if you shoot a no shoot in USPSA, you lose some points. If you shoot a no
Mm-hmm.
shoot in IDPA, you lose some points. If you shoot
Mm-hmm.
a no shoot in life, you might go to jail.
Mm-hmm.
So those are things to consider as well when you're practicing shooting, which again is another great reason to go out and practice, because just because you have CPL does not mean that you are, going to be John Wick and hit
No.
exactly what you want to hit.
Yeah, you
A
got to build
CPL is
that muscle
literally
memory.
it's literally just step one. Getting a CPL. I know here in Michigan and doing a podcast with CPL instructors, it's literally going to the class and being somewhat competent. Anyone could get a CPL. It's going through the class, and I do know that they have like next level training, but no one ever takes it because everyone just wants to get the piece of paper, get the plastic in their wallet so this way they can carry. But just like Phil says, just by having a CPL doesn't mean you're John Wick. So,
Yeah, and I'm guilty of not taking any next level training after getting my CPL either. But
mhm.
I do shoot a lot more than most people probably do shoot that
Yeah,
own a
I mean,
firearm.
you're a
But
B
that
class
doesn't
shooter, Phil. Yeah.
and that doesn't necessarily mean though that that's okay. And I have actually
No, but yeah.
I've talked to people that I know are better shooters than myself. Shout out to Kyle,
Hmm.
specifically for USPSA. Like, hey, let's go out and shoot some time, and how can you show me where I'm losing time? Right now,
Hmm.
that same thing can apply to doing defensive pistol. Like, show me how I can get better. Now,
Hmm.
I would say there's not, obviously, short of improving your draw speed, your accuracy, which you can do on your own, there may not be as much from a training perspective other than working through situations that create stress, that could create like situations with people around and whatnot. I think of another Nathan that we know, Tyler, that we had talked to, that we had done
Hmm.
some training with, where they took out some blue guns and that kind of stuff, and
Yep.
found
Oh
it very
yeah.
insightful.
Well, I mean,
Yep.
I even think exactly. I know that was very insightful for you. I want to just get even just airsoft guns and just do force training, man. That's what I
Yeah.
really want to do. Because I feel there's just nothing like it's like what's his face, Mike Tyson's, where everyone's got a plan to get punched in the face.
Hmm.
And I kind of just think of that same thing with I would love to get UTM's, but you can't as civilians apparently, or it's pretty darn hard, or it's really expensive. But either
I want to
way,
take
Yeah.
a I want to take a class with Ben Stoker,
oh my
or I
goodness,
want to
yeah.
get down to Valor Ridge. Reed Hendricks, shout out to that guy. He's pretty awesome.
Hmm. So, but either way,
Stoger
like,
Shop sponsor us.
what? Oh yeah. So
Stoger has a lot of really good competition gear that he sells on his site. I use one of his boss hangers. It's fantastic.
that's awesome. So,
Sweet.
but either way, like, it's of course just going back to getting training, practice, going out with buddies, doing more than just. I mean, of course, end of the day, if all you have is an indoor range, like, I don't want to discourage you. Like, practice that too, because that's all I had for the first year. All I did was I went to an indoor range and I did what I could during the time, 50 to 100 rounds every month, and I did different. And I remember watching YouTube drills, looking up YouTube drills on how to do things in indoor ranges, because of course you can't draw from your holster, but
Right.
you can do other things. At least getting more competent, more comfortable, because you can at least reload at a range. They let you do that typically, so stuff like that. And of course, kind of going from there, as I was actually kind of, I remember going to the range for the first time with Phil, and I wasn't like amazing, but I know Phil was like, holy cow, you're actually better than I thought you'd be. I'm like, thank you for that, and safer. So you're welcome. I didn't shoot you, so it's great.
It's true. I have a policy. If I go shooting with new people, I always like observe how they shoot,
For
because I
sure.
shot with people that really don't know what they're doing, and then I'm like, they want to go again. I'm like, no, I'm good.
I know, I've been flagged by
I'm
people. It's
like,
not
hey,
fun.
you should go and watch this video. Here you go. And
I
that's not trying to
know.
be like uppity or anything, but I don't like being flagged.
No,
So,
of course
like you
not.
said,
Well, even with the safety team, like every time, especially early on when we had the qualifiers, like I would send all of them Warrior Poets Universal Firearm Safety Rules thing. Like, watch this, please. For
yeah.
the
And
Yeah.
love, I don't want to get
Required viewing.
flagged.
the
I
one thing
know.
I want to say though is, and really kind of stress is, Tyler, you kind of brought it up. Shooting firearms is very much a journey, right? Getting your CPL is the
Oh
first
yeah.
step, but
Mhm.
then again, if you only have the indoor range, like you're not gonna be great right off the bat. But go
Mm-mm.
out and practice. Like make a plan to do so, and it's okay if you're not good, because all of us when we started were not good, except for
No.
maybe like Harrison.
Yeah.
But like he's
Well,
got a gift. I don't know what it is,
yes.
but
Now you just got to realize though, with his occupation, he's
yeah,
forced to have steady hands.
correct.
So
He's a
that actually
surgeon.
makes a lot of sense
He's not a
as I
surgeon.
thought about it more. Yeah,
Right.
with his occupation.
Like
Well, I think of like another guy that we know who's a dentist, and I'm pretty sure he's a good shot because he has to have steady hands.
yeah,
So it
Maria
makes
was the same
sense.
way because
She's a
she,
photographer.
yes, and a pianist. So she has
Oh,
like it's just
hmm,
yep. But anyway, all I have to say, like, don't let any of this like necessarily discourage you. Make a plan, stick with it. Find people, even if you can't afford a trainer. Warrior Poet Society is a great resource. I know
hmm.
Tyler used a lot of their videos to train off of and got really good as a result.
That's how
Again,
yeah,
dry fire
that's
is pretty much free.
yeah. I have not had any formal training other than my CPL class, and really the only, I guess, professional training I've had are literally YouTube videos and Warrior Poets Pistol 1 through 2 and 3 and Rifle 1, 2, and 3. That's really all I've taken for training, and then kind of just going from there and just shooting with better people than me and doing USPSA. So, and just getting tips and tricks from other better shooters. And I'm an okay shooter. I'm just
Oh
fast.
yeah.
Yeah,
That you are.
some people have the natural gift, man.
It's true.
Some
But
of us
either
are
way,
just old.
yeah. well, I'll say yeah, as well. I'm still in my 20s, so I can't say much. But
No,
either way, so of course we have training, we have practicing. What are some common EDC mistakes?
EDC mistakes.
I guess I'll start off with one real quick before I forget about it. Getting a poor holster.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Yeah, I know things are expensive. The good news is, honestly, we are in the golden age of holsters. You can get a really good holster for not a whole lot of money. There's
Hmm.
so many people out there that are using Kydex, like building stuff out of their own garage. Like that's how T-Rex arms started. And even
Yeah.
honestly, their holsters are really not that expensive. The Ironside stuff, wait for a sale potentially to get it.
Hmm.
But get a holster that's got good retention, that your gun's not just going to slide out of, so I guess good retention.
Yep.
That is comfortable, which again is hard. We have a box of shame that we talked about earlier.
Hmm.
But then also making sure that it's not going to be a problem when you go to like carry the pistol around all day long. So I'm a fan of having something rigid that you slide the holster into. Leather also works really well. But there is some school of thought where the people that use like the neoprene backers with like a kydex front, that eventually the neoprene will wear down over time
Hmm.
and it could actually be dangerous.
Oh, like the traditional hybrids.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
thinking like
Yeah.
crossbreed.
And I think that's why like leather is fairly good solution, because while it still will wear down and anything will, leather is going to stand up a little bit longer.
Yeah, so shout out to Kuziak Leather. I got my first leather holster from them, and now all I want to do is wear leather holsters because it's so
I
amazing. I got it
believe
from my bodyguard. It's so
that's so
unbelievably
great.
comfortable. It is incredibly expensive. Like,
Well,
I
for
don't
a
even want
high
to say how
quality
much I.
leather, yeah, makes
Yeah,
sense.
but they do this reinforced leather, so I mean it stays open and the retention is awesome. So
Oh wow.
yeah, it's pretty sweet. But yeah, I mean, I would say, I mean, on that note, as far as mistakes, when you're talking holsters, obviously the next thing is the belt.
I was gonna say the exact same thing.
I definitely have a whole bunch of belts that I've gone through as well, and I
Hmm.
have two that I keep cycling through that I really like. Um, EDC Belt Company. It's called the Foundation Belt, and it's got this low profile buckle. And
Hmm.
I'll send you the link to it so you can put it in the show notes or whatever. But it's rigid where it needs to be,
Yep.
and then not where you're bending over and stuff. So the sides are a little bit squishier, but it's perfect for appendix carry.
That's
So
awesome. I
it's
know for
Velcro.
me, yeah, I'm a big fan of Core. That's kind of what I've been rocking for the past couple of years now. I have a couple of their belts. I just really like the ratcheting system personally,
Yeah,
just being able to go in and out. I
and
can
I
be
was going to
fat
say
and
the
happy when I'm sitting and then just nice and tight while I'm standing up.
yep, and then the next belt is the other one
Yep.
that I use, which is pretty much like Core,
It's the
just
exact same thing.
a little
Same
bit different
concept.
buckle system, but yeah, it's the same thing. That it's very rigid ratcheting system.
Yep.
I like to wear that when I'm wearing like a heavier gun. It just
Oh, for sure. I know,
holds
like,
everything up a
especially
little
with
better.
Next Beltel, they have a thinner buckle as well. So
Yeah,
I do know they like to really talk about that by having a thinner buckle. Because I know for me,
yeah,
having a core belt, I offset my buckle. Whereas with a Next Belt, they're like, no, this is like the supreme appendix or whatever carry. So you can actually keep the buckle in front. So
you
this way,
can. I still do the
mhm.
same thing. I
I
offset mine
know
as
I
well.
offset it. Yeah, it's funny. Like sometimes I'll kind of lift my shirt a little bit. Like I'll raise my hand. Some of the guys on the seats like, "Oh, Tyler, why are you offsetting your belt buckle?" I'm like, "Shut up. We all know why. Whatever."
Right.
So, but no, I agree. I agree with that. Definitely a bad holster, bad belt. I think one thing too, I think of when it comes to mistakes is not actually testing your gear, not testing your gun. I know making sure you
Yeah.
break it in. People are probably not going to like this, but I argue that before I carry a gun, I want at least 500, if not 1,000 rounds through my gun.
And I will add on top of that that make sure you run your carry ammo through it as well.
100%.
I'm so glad that you brought that up. I have to tell you, my last trip to the range just the other day, I brought my bodyguard out and I decided to shoot the rounds that I had in my magazine that I carry. I had
Hmm.
2 rounds out of that mag that did not fire.
Oh
They
my
light
goodness.
primer strikes. And I'm like, it's
Dude.
that real fast stuff. I don't know if I should say the brand, but I'll just say it. It's the Lehigh Defense 68 grain super fast stuff, but it's
Okay.
because it's so light.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it was just 2 out of 12, but that was enough for me to say, okay, I'm not trusting that.
No, most
So,
definitely not. I was about to say even just one. I know
and I was
that's
so
why.
glad that I
Yeah.
did that because to your point, Philip, like it had been a while since I had actually cycled through some carry
Hmm.
ammunition. So I was super glad that I did that. And just, yeah, a huge reminder that you need to test that stuff.
I agree.
So
I
I'm going
know.
back to a heavier bullet, a 90 grain for that little 380.
Oh, for sure. I know Phil was there when I did. I actually made some, this was a few years ago. I actually made some ballistic gel, and because I was able to do it and I was able to test through a bunch of different ammo between ball ammo, carry ammo, and I mean, I'll admit I had a little bias going into it, kind of based off of my research. I know active self protection. They're a big fan of this too, with federal HSTs in the 147 grain. And I found personally with my gun, that's what works best. And ironically enough, is what I'm most accurate with too, or at least I had the tightest groupings. So that's what I carry now in all of my, or at least with this gun, which is Federal HST 147. So hey, Federal, if you want to sponsor us too and send us ammo, we will
Yeah.
take it.
I like the
Seriously.
124 grain out of my
124, yeah.
CC9.
124 is
So,
great too.
one thing I'll add about that though, and actually Tyler and I tested this a little bit. When you go to, a lot of times we practice or we zero our firearm that we're carrying, we're going to zero it with ball ammo that's cheap, because like, oh, we're going to go out to the range, I'm going to shoot my gun, I got to zero it. You don't
Mm-hmm.
think to necessarily zero it with your carry ammo.
Mm-hmm.
Now
Very
with
good
like
point.
a really close upfront encounter where then 3 feet, 3 yards, whatever it may be, it's probably not going to matter a whole lot. However, if you are going to carry for a church safety team where you may have to take some longer shots, that accuracy can vary quite a bit at distance. And in this case, it is not okay necessarily just to have acceptable accuracy. So you want to have good, tight accuracy. So I think a lot of it, when you're shooting regular traditional 9mm, it uses just standard specs, right? But usually your defensive rounds are what's called plus P. So they are a little bit hotter. And then your bullet type changes from ball ammo to a hollow point. Both of those things, and then the manufacturer of the ammo itself, or should I say all three of those things, can dramatically change the way that your 9mm will shoot out of a pistol. Again, we're not shooting at like Olympic yard distances, but there are definitely instances where you may need to shoot, especially from a church safety team or any kind of safety. Like if you're a police officer, for example, make sure that you're checking the accuracy of near zero for your carry ammo as well.
I agree. That is something too. I'm trying to
Absolutely.
remember. I think my previous dot actually was 0 to my carry ammo, but my new dot that I put on is actually 0 to my ball ammo. So that's actually a really good point. I would like to do that next time now. Thanks for that.
Yeah, I'm actually glad you brought that up. I'm going to check my 0 on all my pistols now with some self-defense ammo.
Yeah,
I remember, Tyler, when we tested your ammo from ball ammo to, like, I can't remember what brand ball ammo we used. I hope it was just Blazer.
It was
but
probably,
I know
for me, was AAC at the time because I was still
I mean,
doing
it was
AAC.
was it? Okay. Well,
For
either
me,
way,
at least.
yeah, I remember we checked, there was your defensive round. I think the one that was most accurate defensive round that you were looking at, plus the traditional ball, whatever you're shooting, were really close to each other.
They were fairly close. It wasn't like a crazy amount. I think it was just a couple clicks, like on the horizontal plane. So it wasn't too bad, but I would like to keep it more because, of course, I know obviously, I'm going to shoot much more ball ammo than I ever will defense.
Oh, yeah.
And this is my competition gun, but ultimately, I would rather be able to protect myself and those around me than versus losing a point or two in a competition because I was just out of, even then at that point, getting out of A to Charlie. Yeah. But you know what I mean.
Yeah,
someday I'm going to
argument
be
to
as
carry
cool as you guys to do these competition shoots. I got to get in that at some point.
Yeah, dude,
I think
join us.
You would be just fine.
I was gonna say, our buddy Brian, he shoots with us once in a while.
Sure does. Yeah.
Yep.
And
Isaac.
And Isaac. A lot of people that we
Harrison,
have.
I think, wants to start doing it too. So
yeah, you got to just get out, man. That's the first problem is you get out and then you're like, this is awesome. I want to keep doing this. And then you every one Saturday a month is always taken by shooting matches.
Yeah.
Which is fun because you actually like I know I did an individual episode by myself about creating community a while ago. It's like episode like 12 or something.
Yeah, I was in Guyana, I think, right?
Yeah. Yep. If you want to build community and connections with like-minded folks that are like have the guntism like the rest of us, going to do so like shooting matches is one of the best places to meet those kind of people. Sometimes you get all kinds, but eventually you figure out your people, and then you start traveling with them and hanging out with them outside of just shooting, which is weird.
It is
in a good way.
Yeah. Just traveling to West Virginia with them and sleeping in the same RV. It's great.
That's right. And trusting them to drive you there safely.
Yeah, I know, right? While sleeping too. It's like, where are we at? What? We're in Pennsylvania already? Nice.
I know. Shout out to Brent for driving. Like,
you're amazing.
God bless you. The whole way, both directions. He was like, no, I got this. I used to do this all the time for bands. And we're like, okay.
I'm not going to complain. Sure.
Yeah. But yeah, anyway, all that to kind of say, like, I honestly, a slight argument to carry, to shoot your competition gun, have a different competition gun than a different defensive gun would be because you have different ammo types and zeroing them. Now you could have the exact same pistol, like you could have 2 shadow systems and have one that you use for competition and one that you use for carry.
I don't got that kind of money.
Right?
You have a shield, Tyler. You have like 3 shields.
2. I have 2, sir.
2. Okay, fine.
Which I touch like never.
Gotta get those. Gotta get the milled, man. Tell you.
The thing is,
You
I
got
don't
'em.
care. That's the problem. Like, I don't even want to carry them. I think after everything that happened with it, that's why I just don't care. So, but either way, I mean, I'll see. I went through. I'm very thankful for my shields. It got me to where I am now. But I've had this thing now for what 4 years now, I think, something like that. So
Shadow Systems sponsor Tyler already. My gosh, he brings it up
fine.
every episode.
I don't even care. It's literally my gun, bro. This
I
is.
know.
I've had this thing for so long. It's crazy just to look at them. It's some of the wear marks, but whatever. Either way, it's funny. Like
Yeah.
once again, back when I was on social media, people complain like, "I have this like wear mark on here. What to do? Do you think warranty will return?" Everyone's laughing. It's like, dude, it's a tool. Get over yourself. It's fine.
Um.
If it was a safe queen, that's a whole other story. But you were
Right.
saying, Phil?
Oh no, sorry. I was just gonna move on to other EDC mistakes, just because we
Yep,
are
go for
getting
it.
it. We're getting along here. The other thing I would say too is carrying in a position that's not comfortable or switching up your
Yes.
position on a regular basis. That took me a while to figure out, which is actually why maybe I'm probably not as proficient at drawing from concealment as I am from competition. Because I figured out the competition thing a long time ago. And that setup has been the same for
Mm-hmm.
years.
Yep.
But the concealed carry took a while. I tried appendix. Everybody's like, "Oh, this is the best carry appendix," and I really don't like it. And maybe I'm just a boomer. I'm not a boomer, but I like carrying inside the waistband on my strong side. So everybody's different, but find out what works for you and stick with it.
I agree.
I know you guys carry appendix, but have you
That's all
tried
I
other
carry.
position? Yeah, have you ever tried anything else
It's uncomfortable.
in
I
your
have.
Strong
It hurts my
your
hip.
snack pack? Yeah.
strong side is very uncomfortable for me.
Yeah,
It
I agree.
really makes my hips and my knees really hurt.
Yep.
I will do it occasionally, especially when I like suit carry. I might do like inside the waistband strong side, but even I hate every second of it.
Yeah. Plus, you risk printing more, bending
It's true.
over, and yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, see, I had the exact problem, exact opposite. My back was hurting carrying appendix, especially after doing like church safety,
Mm-hmm.
and then I was actually printing more out the front than I was on the side.
I'm gonna fix you up, Philip. I'm gonna show you the holsters, the
There you go.
hacks, all
That's
the
All right,
amazing.
workings.
I'm pretty satisfied with what I've got now, but I
Okay.
am always willing to try new things.
That's awesome. But cool. I mean, I'll be honest, that's about all I have for today. Do you guys have any closing thoughts?
The one thing I want to bring up real quick, and we can,
Okay.
because I don't want to bring this up, because I want you guys to get your thoughts on this as well too, is when you do carry,
Okay.
remember that there is a weight upon you of carrying, right?
Mm-hmm.
We talked about how cool gear is and how awesome it is to be a dude and carry stuff with you, but you got to be right with your maker and right with yourself to be able to carry, because if you are going to carry a deadly weapon, that means that you may have to use it. Now you can choose not to deploy it. That is up to you. That is also a choice.
Yes.
But if you're carrying to have it with you, or you're going to have it with you, and it's the same thing we tell all the people at church that carry. We don't require people to carry on the church safety team,
No.
but you have to get right with the fact that you may need to use it, and you could seriously injure and or kill somebody if you are using it in a defensive situation.
Mm-hmm.
And all the responsibility, like we talked about earlier, about missed shots. So again, train. I'm curious what you guys think about, like, do you think about that at all? Like when you go to carry?
Went very early on, I did. I definitely put a very heavy weight on that, and I definitely put a lot of thought into it. Now it's become such an everyday part of me. I guess it's just so normalized. But at the same
Yeah.
time, like I'll occasionally think about it as like, oh, I might have to use this one day.
I
But I
definitely
don't really
think
think
about
about it
it.
anymore personally.
I think about it every Sunday when I go to church, especially if I'm on the team.
That's
That
fair.
it definitely goes through my head. But yeah, I remember the very first time I carried, and I went into a grocery store, and I was like, "Oh, everybody's gonna
Yes.
know."
I know.
I know.
Yeah, I remember
Yes.
that.
It's so true. And then
But
do
there
you
was also this strange
nobody
feeling of like
cares.
I am super safe, and like nobody's gonna be able to harm me, whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, just real quick, I would say one of the challenges with EDC is to not look like some tactical dork either.
Oh my
Like,
goodness.
so
Yes.
the challenge is carry as much stuff as you can that makes sense while looking somewhat normal. And I have a funny story about that because there are some telltale signs. Even if you think you're subtle, people in the industry or guys like us, we know.
We
Like
know.
you can spot people like us a mile away. If you
Easily.
have if you have pants on that have any type of like a zippered cargo pocket, like
Mm-hmm.
funny story,
Yeah.
we were vacationing a few years back and we went to the Ark in Kentucky.
Oh, nice. Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
They didn't have any signs and it's legal to carry in Kentucky, but I noticed this very large policeman with a canine, and I was just walking through the crowd, and he spots me out of a crowd and he goes, "Sir, come here." And I went up to him and I was like, "Yes, sir." He's like, "I was just wondering if you have any concealed weapons on you right now." And that was a lesson to me. Like, I thought I looked pretty normal, and this guy just knew. Like, you could just
Mm-hmm.
tell. It's funny. So,
It's so true. It is so true, man.
That's funny. There's an old adage that if you're, I shouldn't say this out loud, but I'm not gonna say it. I'm gonna come with some kind of variation of this. Let's just say that IDPA people like to wear fishing jackets. So if you're ever in a spot where somebody's wearing a fishing jacket, they're probably carrying.
That is
a Scotty
so funny.
vest.
Yep.
That's so funny.
I've always wanted a Scotty vest. You guys know what those are, right?
A Scotty vest. I feel
No.
like I'm too
Oh,
young
you never
for
heard of a
that.
Scotty vest? You got to
I have
look it up
no
after
idea.
this. It's
I'm
a
looking it up
normal
right
looking, like,
now.
oh, dude, it's got like a million pockets. It's like my dream. I don't know why I don't have one. Let's talk to my wife about Father's Day.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, you can just,
5'11" tactical men's fast tech
Oh,
vest in Ranger
yeah, I
green.
see it now. Yep. Okay.
yeah,
Wow. You
Here,
could
oh, here's a
carry
Scotty
a
vest.
water bottle?
yeah. You can iPads you can throw in there.
Wow.
It's pretty hilarious.
Okay, that's at $379. I'm
Yeah,
good.
that's why do you think I don't have one?
This is my problem though, is I'm so tall that like any value of wearing a vest I would be lost. Just because it's not gonna be long enough.
Well, you'd have to shop big and tall.
Yeah, I do have a vest I wear for work, but it's like it wouldn't be long enough to be
It's funny. I have a
useful.
similar problem. I'm not tall, but I'm just my body type is kind of a longer torso, shorter
Yeah.
legs, so I
Hey,
struggle.
Michael
Mhm.
Phelps.
Yeah, exactly. Swim just like him. Yeah, but
Yeah, oh yeah.
There you go.
no. I guess we're finished with EDC mistakes, aren't we?
Yeah, well, I think the last thing we were kind of talking about was with just like being right with yourself when you go to carry. I
Just
remember
having the
there
right
was
mindset as well.
yeah,
So, mhm.
I remember there was an instance at church where we had somebody that was outside that was acting up, and we had to escort them off the property. And I remember I was like, the whole time going through my mind was like, don't pull something out, don't pull a knife out, don't pull a gun out, like don't make me do this, don't make me do this, don't make me do this. The whole time while I'm talking to dude, so it really kind of makes you try to de-escalate stuff really quickly with your words when
Mhm.
you have to think about that kind of thing. So
Shout
again,
out
you're
to John Riley of General Response Training.
yeah,
Well worth that training for
yes.
de-escalation.
Yeah, so if you can
Mhm.
de-escalate first, and then
I agree.
obviously is the
That's probably
last
one of the most
option.
important trainings you can get. Just being able to
Helped me in my
de-escalate.
road rage incident from January.
That's amazing.
Yep. Yeah, I guess anything else you wanted to add, Tyler or Nathan?
Nothing that I can think of. Once again, of course, just reminders. Just make sure, just get to the range, guys. Whether it's
Yeah.
indoor, outdoor, at your buddy's backyard that you can legally do it at. Got to specify that. But just get out there, reevaluate your EDC. Just make sure that you kind of just make sure you train with your stuff. Make sure you're not just overstuffing your pockets or spending all the money on the fanciest gun or holster, and you're not even training. Just no point. So just get out there and practice and just take inventory, So that's about all I've got. So I will let you make the next
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
comment,
whoa, whoa.
Phil.
No, you have to let Nathan. Nathan, you have anything to close on?
Just that I got a bunch of EDC stuff that I'm looking at. I didn't get through everything, but I think we'll just throw it up in the show notes if anybody's interested in getting some of the items that I have done. Trial and error,
My
pain,
man.
financial pain, and the like over the years. You
Yeah.
can benefit from all of that. But no, it's been great talking with you guys, and do it again sometime soon.
So one thing we do on the podcast, I'm sure you're very familiar with, Nathan, is at the end of it we do give some life advice. So Tyler, why don't you kick us off?
Yeah, of course I
See what I
will.
did there, Tyler?
No, I was literally saying that so I could let you call on me because
Oh,
I've
dang! I
done
was
it to
wondering
you.
why you were like trying to transfer it. I was like, no, I gotta get.
That's why I did that because I was letting you call on me since I've done it to you like the past 5 episodes.
That is
So
true. No
for
fault.
me, it comes from Dr. Henry Cloud, of course, the boundaries guy. This is something that I've been talking about. I feel like kind of just on and off with my coworkers. And when it comes to growing up and being mature, even in whether you're a believer or not, is being able to learn how to integrate the good and the bad. Yes, there are things in life that are black and white. There are things that are truth, like things that are very black and white, where that's just how it is. But everyone, we as humans are both good and bad, as learning how to integrate that together. Because it's really easy for people to put other people on pedestals and say they are a good person, but the moment they do one bad thing, it just comes crashing down, and they can't, in their minds, be able to integrate the two together. And how, because ultimately, we're all sinners. I know there are people of the beliefs where people say deep down you're good, but in reality, in my worldview, is deep down we're all evil. But that's why we need Jesus. But ultimately, it's once again, it's just learning how to integrate that good and the bad. And same thing that there are bad, because even bad people can do good things as well. So it's learning how to integrate the two. So this way, you just become a more balanced and mature person. So that's my advice for today.
Love it.
Nice, Nathan. What you got for us?
Wow, I thought it was my turn to pick on somebody.
No, I was trying to beat you to it.
Nathan,
I mean,
what's your
kind of
life
hard to
advice?
follow a pastor, but get yourself in a in a good Bible believing church. Surround yourself with like minded Christ followers. If you're a dude, which I'm assuming it's mostly dudes listening to this podcast, you know, it's really important to get yourself in a circle of, and it doesn't even have to be a ton, just a couple really good friends who are going to hold you accountable
I
and
agree.
help you in your walk with the Lord.
I agree.
And then
Ah,
if you hit the jackpot like I did with the wife that I have, that's something to pray about if you don't currently have that, because
mm-hmm.
marriage, you will hear a lot of talk on the internets these days of how terrible marriage is and how it's just a
Mm,
bad deal for guys, but it's really just the best thing that you can possibly have in this life. I feel like
Amen.
next to next to believing in Christ. So
I agree. I know one thing. One person I follow, his name's John Eldridge, and I know one thing that he says in his book Wild at Heart is that unfortunately the modern church has failed men in general, because it's become just all about like, oh man, I don't even know
the
how to say
feels.
this. Yeah, it's all about the feels, but at the same time, it's like, no, just find a good church and find good dudes and just surround yourself with them. And like, just go out in nature, man. Just go camping, do something. I know, Nathan, you do that a lot in the summer, which I
Oh
commend
yeah.
you for
I'm hiking part
because,
of the Appalachian this summer too, so that'll be
dude,
yeah.
that's
that's gonna
awesome.
be awesome. Yeah.
hmm So, but yeah. All right, Philip, you're up.
So I guess along those lines of like the church society really like failing men in many regards, right? And when I mean men, I mean like good men,
hmm
right? And encouraging men to raise good men. One thing I will say is learn at least one apocalypse skill.
Mm,
Now, you may be asking, what the heck is that? It is a skill that, if the world were to come to an end, you could actually use the benefit of your family or other people. I would definitely think that, because it's a shooting podcast, shooting really well is an apocalypse skill. but there are a lot of other things as well too, right? Like camping skills are great skills. Anything that like has to do with your hands, right? Woodworking, whatever. Learn one of those skills that maybe another way of stating it would be to say learn like a pre-electricity skill, right? Like again, because then you not only does it, if something were to happen, it would make you really useful, but it also brings back men to the roots. I think of what made men men, right? And put hair on our chest was doing those like really rough and tough things instead of like sitting down and playing video games. So I do play my share of video games. I play with my son, and they can be a great way to bond with other people. I'm not saying that at all. But get out and do something as well. There's somebody stuck in front of a screen all the time. And then the nice thing about that is when you learn those things, that's when you make community. Because going back to a lot of stuff I know you've talked about in the past, Tyler, is if you're just in front of, you can make community video games. Don't get me wrong,
I
but
disagree with that, but keep
getting
going.
in front of people with real people, creating real relationships fixes a lot of problems that men especially have in this world, where they try to bury it with playing video games or watching TV. Just
Yes.
getting out and getting fresh air, talking to other dudes, realizing that everybody's got problems, maybe even talking through some of the stuff that you're going through, great, right? But all I'd say is learn a skill.
Yes. And in addition to what you just said, get to know your neighbors. Like in an apocalypse situation, end of the world, that's who, unless you're gonna plan on going somewhere else, your neighbors are going to be your community, and those are the people that you're gonna be trying to figure out. Like, okay, you're gonna hunker down together, and you guys are gonna protect each other.
I got this neighbor, Tyler, that walks around my neighborhood in a weighted vest. I don't really know. It's kind of weird. I may try to get to know him.
Isn't that you, Phil?
No, I do a weighted backpack with water on it.
I'm kidding. So, but
I've
no,
graduated to a backpack with a 30-pound plate in it.
I love it.
Nice.
That's awesome. That's exactly. You guys are neighbors, so that works out. But
Yeah,
Hey
exactly.
guys, this
what's up for you guys?
This is a good way to close because guess what we just got? We got a tornado watch going on.
Are we really?
I knew that was going to happen. We
I
have
gotta
all
deal with
our.
my kids.
I know. And I got to go move a vehicle in the garage because we got stuff in the garage right now for doing a garage sale.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for listening to another exciting episode of Acceptable Accuracy with Tyler, Philip, and Nathan today. Thank you, Nathan, for coming on the episode. I think this is your first time with us, right?
It is.
That is awesome. And
I'm
I'm
honored.
sure you'll be returning. I know you listen to the podcast, and we very much appreciate that. So, everyone, thank you so much for listening. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, follow us on Instagram, click our link tree, go to our website, acceptableaccuracy.com, and feel free to email us at
podcast@acceptableaccuracy.com. There's a few blog posts on the website right now as well, but I'm actually having a deep dive into data for the Badger Trekker coming up. So if you're really interested in nerding out on some shooting data, check that out. It'll be up by the time this podcast is out. And all that to say, too, the last thing is our team jerseys are coming, Tyler. They're going to be here within the next few days. So we have a acceptable accuracy shooting team, which is very tongue-in-cheek, but the jerseys are awesome.
It is hilarious to me because like I ordered it first by multiple days, and yet I'm getting it at the same time as you guys. I'm like, wow, thanks.
Well, it was hilarious because I emailed them and I was like, hey, where are they? And they shipped them all at the exact same time. I'm like,
I know. I'm like,
yep.
Whatever.
I see
Rather they created the tag, the labels for it. So
yeah, actually, mine is shipped now. I checked. They're in
good,
like yeah. So I don't know if yours is actually in the mail.
It might have.
Yeah.
I got an email this morning saying, and I checked in, and it said labels created. I think I got a notification about something else. So from like a third party app, but even then, whatever. Nice. Either way, but thank you so much, everyone.
If you see us with jerseys on the range, come hello and say hi, and at least Tyler will interact with you. So cool.
Wow.
I'm just kidding. We all will. We'll have them at USPSA at the sectional, which Tyler won't be at, and probably at Zombie as well. And I'm wearing mine at Badger Trekker.
You have fun with that.
I will, because this is gonna be hot.
All right. Thank you, everyone, and you have a great day.
All right. See ya.